Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Norlin Ebel Ame. First, the news headlines. Court grants EFCC warrant of arrest against Dan Etete and Mohamed Adoke for alleged Malabu oil scandal. ECOWAS travel certificate replacement. Nigeria joins ECOWAS member countries to operate unified biometric capture identity card. Sudan's ousted President Omar al-Bashir in solitary confinement at Kobar maximum security prison. And now the news in details. President Muhammadu Buhari has made a passionate appeal to returning and newly elected members of the House of Representatives on the platform of the governing All Progressives Congress not to allow the mistakes of 2015 be repeated regarding the election of presiding officers for the 9th National Assembly. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that the president was speaking at a special dinner organized in their honor at the presidential villa.
The interactive dinner provided the opportunity for President Muhammadu Buhari, as well as the returning and newly elected APC members of the House of Representatives, to enrich each other's thought process on the best way forward towards achieving a more peaceful, stable, united, and prosperous Nigeria. This, the president said, is necessary in order to avoid past mistakes of allowing people that do not mean well for the country occupy strategic leadership positions critical to national growth and development.
I have a nasty experience in 2015. Nasty in the sense that just like this election, our party has the majority in both houses. But the members of the party in the Senate allows themselves to be divided into two, have to be thrown off, and PDP was given virtually the control of the upper house. So that house then damned the national interest. They must be seen nationally and internationally that they are in charge, not the executive. And one of the worst cases was that in one of the years, it took 7 months for the National Assembly to pass the budget. Are we working for the nation or are we working for ourselves? What is their responsibilities to God and to the nation?
President Buhari said Nigeria cannot afford not to get it right this time, as the next 4 years will be very crucial to placing the country on the path to sustainable future.
I'm reminding you, please, in the name of God, get together and make sure that the party is in charge. For whatever reason, don't allow yourself to be cut into pieces and mismanaged. Have respect for yourself. Keep the trust given to you by your constituencies. And remember that ultimately, whether you believe it or not, you are going to appear before God and answer for your responsibilities.
APC National Chairman Adams Oshomole, who spoke in the same vein, said with 223 members in the 9th House of Representatives, the governing APC can neither go into coalition nor share what belongs to it with the opposition in terms of leadership.
From the lessons we learned from what happened in 2015, we are determined that in 2019, we will not repeat those mistakes. We will draw the appropriate lessons from those mistakes and we will move on. So I am confident, sir, that this night we have very committed Nigerians who are hungry to deliver on the promises that Mr. President made. The logic of partisanship is that we discriminate positively, particularly against forces of retrogression. There is no apology. Neither Your Excellency, Mr. President, nor the party expect that the National Assembly should be a rubber stamp. But what we expect is constructive engagement and constructive contestation.
Some of the members-elect spoken to described the engagement with the president as appropriate, timely, and reassuring.
The party after taking into cognizance all factors, adopted the leader of the House, Femi Bajabiamila, for the position of the Speaker, and also placed effectively the position of the Deputy Speakership to the North Central Zone.
The next level is guaranteed for the APC in the Ninth Assembly, inshallah, because there's going to be a strong synergy between the executive and the legislature.
A similar meeting was earlier held with the APC senators-elect. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And on Senate has passed the bill for the repeal and reenactment of the Police Act. The bill seeks, among other issues, to improve cooperation between the Nigerian police and communities for effective policing. Senate also adopted some amendments that seek to provide severe punishment for a police officer found guilty of using excessive force on a person while carrying out his or her duties. While any person found guilty of assault or obstructing the police from carrying out its duties should pay a fine of not less than 500,000 naira or 2 years imprisonment or both. Senate has also passed 7 reintroduced bills, including Petroleum Industry Governance Bill 2019. Similarly, the House of Representatives has, in a bid to regulate social work in Nigeria, passes a bill for an act to establish the Chartered Institute of Social Work in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the bill was among 8 bills passed by the House Wednesday plenary.
Some provisions of the bill establishing the Chartered Institute of Social Work Practitioners include guidelines on membership and control of social work as a profession. The remaining 7 bills passed include those amending the University of Maiduguri Act, that of Obafemi Awolowo University and Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, on matters relating to ownership of intellectual property and qualification of chairmen of governing councils. In the meantime, the lawmakers have adopted a motion calling on the federal government to secure the release of the remaining abducted Chibok schoolgirls.
A call on the federal government to intensify efforts to secure the release of the remaining Chibok girls, Leah Sharibu and Alice Ngada.
An adage in my part of the country that it is better for your child to be pronounced dead than to say that your child is missing.
Also adopted was a motion from Representative Gyang Pojok urging the federal government to direct Ministry of Finance to ensure that all of 2018 appropriations to organs of government on the first-line charge are released as provided in the Constitution. As the Committee of the Whole, the House considered and adopted a report on a bill establishing Data Protection Commission. Before adjourning plenary for the Easter break, the House received a report from the Appropriation Committee on the 2019 Appropriation Bill from the National Assembly. Lami Ali, NTA News.
Lami, and still on Senate President Abubakar Bukola Saraki has drawn the attention of parliaments globally to education as fundamental to achieving sustainable development for peace, security and good governance. This was at the general debate of the Interparliamentary Union held in Doha, the capital of Qatar. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
Convergence of the legislators from across the globe marks the 140th Assembly of the Interparliamentary Union. It was to find ways of ensuring adherence to UNESCO's recommended 15 to 20% budgetary funding for the education sector. Senate President Abubakar Bukola Saraki, represented by Senator Kabiru Ibrahim Gaya, says Nigeria's legislature remains guided by the fact that education is not a luxury.
It's when we have better educated youth that the danger of insecurity will be significantly reduced so that democracy can thrive, paving way for social economic progress.
The theme draws attention to education as one of the cardinal issues to consider for fundamental human right, which is central to the development of citizens.
We are, however, addressing the shortfalls, which combined strategies to enhance peace, security, and the rule of law.
As part of the effort by the Nigeria's legislature to ensuring that education is built on a solid foundation, the Senate made reference at the forum to the Universal Basic Education Commission Amendment Act, which guarantees free and compulsory education for all Nigerians up to secondary level, and Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act 2011 to include colleges of agriculture as beneficiaries of the fund. Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
However, from Senate to ECOWAS now, public-private partnership is an alternative form of financing used by countries for the design, construction, rehabilitation, maintenance and operation of infrastructure for the purpose of providing public service. This is why the ECOWAS Parliament Joint Committee on Finance, Trade, Customs and Free Movement in Accra, Ghana, is considering possible ways of making the initiative better utilized for countries within the sub-region. Joseph Orok reports.
Funding of infrastructural and developmental projects for enhanced socio-economic growth of any society is no doubt a common challenge with any society, including ECOWAS member countries. To find a way out of these challenges is why the ECOWAS Parliament is seeking the knowledge, experiences of experts and stakeholders to brainstorm on the way forward. Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament, Mustafa Sisilo, says the meeting is to enable the Parliament to know relevant legislative approach to advance the course of public-private partnership agreements in funding projects.
We are going to discuss funding for investment through public-private partnership. This type of partnership, which has been adopted in member states to build infrastructure, is arousing interest because it will help to fill the funding gap in the member countries. And
we are aware of the commitment of ECOWAS to the implementation of multimodal transport infrastructure and policies to promote fiscal cohesion among member states and to facilitate the movement of people, goods and services within the community.
The government of Ghana is of the firm belief that the prosperity of the country is hinged on creating the necessary enabling environment for the private sector to thrive.
Public-private partnership, if properly adopted and implemented, members of parliaments and stakeholders agree, will be of immense benefit to the region as alternative source of project funding as against relying on the support of the developed countries and the banks. Public-private partnership in funding projects started in 1992 in United Kingdom and was first introduced in Nigeria in 2005.
For trending news from other parts of the globe, here is Ado Adamu also.
Thank you and welcome to this segment of the news. Sudan's former president Omar al-Bashir has been moved to Kobar maximum security prison days after he was ousted in a military coup. Reports say the ex-leader has until now been detained at a presidential residence under heavy guard. He is reportedly being held in solitary confinement and is surrounded by tight security. Months of protests in Sudan led to the ousting and arrest of the long-time ruler. Until now, Mr. Bashir's whereabouts since his removal was unknown. And reports say Indonesia's president is on course for re-election following unofficial results released within hours of polls closing. Official results are not expected until May, but the quick counts undertaken by polling companies have proved correct in previous years. Indonesia voted Wednesday in one of the world's largest one-day elections. More than 192 million people were eligible to cast their ballot to select 20,000 local and national lawmakers, including the president. The first shipment of humanitarian assistance from International Red Cross is being distributed in Venezuela. The shipment comes a few weeks after President Nicolas Maduro reached a deal with the group to deliver aid. The socialist president had previously repeatedly denied the existence of a humanitarian crisis in Venezuela. He had also blocked the delivery of aid from US and other countries, saying it was part of an agenda to oust him. And that is it from here. Thank you for watching. I am Ado Ademo also.
Thank you, Ado. You are still watching the news on NTA International, reaching you from Abuja. Stay tuned for more news after the break.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
Thank you for staying with us. Federal government has declared Friday 19th and Monday 22nd April 2019 as public holiday to mark this year's Easter celebration. A statement signed by Georgina Ihuria, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, says the Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazao, enjoins all Christians to emulate the attributes of Jesus Christ, which are peaceful coexistence, tolerance and love. Moving on, in continuation of its efforts to invest in the country's human capital development, the Buhari administration has continued to make significant strides through its National Social Investment Programs (NSIP). A statement by Laolu Akonde, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, says millions of Nigerians are currently benefiting from the different schemes under the National Social Investment Programs, which is the largest social welfare scheme in the history of the country. It adds that through its conditional cash transfer (CCT) scheme, the administration is supporting 1 million poorest households in society. Meanwhile, 9.5 million pupils are now being fed under school feeding program. It is a known fact that employees who embrace necessary training are better equipped to discharge their jobs creditably. Recognizing the fact that training is critical for optimal productivity, the federal government is not resting on its oars to ensure the training of its workers for quality service delivery. Adebola Brucelin Sunday reports that the government has presented a roadmap to ensure workers benefit from the move to equip them for their task.
Training, analysts say, presents a prime opportunity to expand the knowledge base of employees. However, research has shown that many employers, especially in Africa, see training as expensive. In Nigeria, the civil service is the highest employer of labor and the engine room of government. The expectation of most civil and public servants are to quickly get acquainted with their jobs without formal training. After a survey, the project management team under the Federal Civil Service Strategy and Implementation Plan 2017-2020 came up with a training roadmap that will meet the needs of all cadre.
They get promoted, they are not trained. They get posted to different MDAs, they are not trained. So you can imagine if all these civil servants are receiving the training that is unique or peculiar to their needs, it will definitely have the result of improved service delivery.
That document has really addressed almost, I would say, about 80% of what we require to conduct training that are transformational.
With the new policy direction of the present administration to constantly induct new workers, train and retrain others, it is expected that productivity will increase as they contribute their quota to national development. Adebola Brucelin Sunday, NTA News.
Thank you, Adebola. The Academic Staff Union of Research Institutions is enlisting the support of the Nigerian Television Authority to secure funding and keep research alive in Nigeria. This was made known at a courtesy visit to the Director General of the NTA in Abuja. Victor Azu reports.
Research and development go hand in hand, and it's in a bid to retain researchers, sustain research, and therefore guarantee national development that the Academic Staff Union of Research Institutions, ASUI, is visiting the Nigerian Television Authority to solicit support. National Secretary and leader of the delegation, Theophilus Ndubisi, says research institutions are at the risk of being eroded without proper financing and coordination.
We have all that it takes to employ every Nigerian if we give proper attention to research. And that if Nigeria, since independence, has given proper attention to research, the way other nations have done, we will be one of the richest nations in the world because we already have the natural resources.
Representing the Director General, Executive Director Administration, Steve Ebo, pledges the NTA's support to help the union achieve its aim.
We are going to provide you an opportunity to talk to the world, to talk to Nigeria, to speak to the ears of those who are supposed to hear about this. And we can assure you much results will be produced.
And it does seem like they got the needed assurances in the end. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Let's now turn to judiciary. Justice D.Z. Senchi of an FCT High Court sitting in Jabi has granted the prayers of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for a warrant of arrest against Dan Etete, a former Minister of Petroleum, and Mohammed Adoke, a former Minister of Justice and Attorney General of the Federation, who were implicated in the Malabu oil scandal. Also declared wanted are Ralph Wetzels, Kasula Rubato, Pujato Stefano, and Burato Sebastiano, who were meant to be arraigned before Justice Senchi on Wednesday, April 17, 2019, to face charges related to the Malabu oil scandal, but failed to show up. The EFCC, in a statement by its acting head, Media and Publicity, Tony Orilade, says all the defendants declared wanted had repeatedly failed to appear before the court. Justice Senchi granted the prayers of the EFCC and ruled that the Nigeria Police, the Interpol, and any other law enforcement agency should arrest them anywhere they were found, including outside jurisdiction of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT High Court. Nigeria has joined other ECOWAS member countries in operating a unified biometric capture identity card to replace the current ECOWAS travel certificate. Chimobi Walter Naji was at the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding.
In January 2016, ECOWAS countries signed an agreement to roll out biometric identity cards across the entire region to give room for deeper integration and reduce trans-border crimes. Nigeria is joining Ghana and other West African countries to start the production of these biometric identity cards for each citizens through the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between the Federal Ministry of Interior, the Nigerian Immigration Service, and a private company, the Euphoria Group of Companies, as a public-private partnership arrangement. The biometric card is expected to, among other things, help manage migration across the sub-region and help transport security in tracking movement of people.
And their total commitment to achieving the free movement of persons and goods, establishing a common market, consolidating peace, security, and good governance, as well as greater efficiencies in the operations of community institutions through the implementation of adequate reforms.
The project, though to be financed by a PPP arrangement, will help in the growth of the economy, as well to help in providing employment opportunities for Nigeria.
The project will be successful because this project is not today. Today, I think it's about 3 years we have been working on this project, and we are following all the due process that you follow to do any PPP worldwide, not even in Nigeria.
The biometric card, when fully operational, will assist the Interpol identify persons involved in cross-border criminal activities within the region. In Abuja, Chimobi Walter Naji, NTA News.
Next is a quick check on Thursday's weather prospect for Nigeria and some cities of the world. And that concludes the news on NTA International at this hour. Thank you for watching. My name is Nolin Ebel Ame.